Hey everybody, it's Christmas Eve, and I figured that I was feeling sketchy today, and my husband got me some new inks to try because the brown that I have in my fountain pen that I've been using when I'm sketching out in plein air is definitely not a permanent ink, so it definitely bleeds. Now, in the pictures that I was doing, it didn't really matter that it bled, but I'm trying to find inks that aren't so bleedy. And now I got some of these micron pens as well, these little Pigma micron pens that have different shapes and sizes, and also these Sakura Pigma little mini brushes to play with as well, and they are definitely permanent. I did a little experiment to make sure. But for today, I'm feeling a little festive, and my husband got me these wonderful little inks to try that are supposed to be permanent to semi-permanent. And he got me the color black, urban gray, dark green, an urban sienna it's called, and a regular like brown, octopus brown? No. And then this one is a sepia brown, and this is the one I'm going to give a try. And instead of filling my pen with it and then finding out that it's not what I wanted, I also am going to use these beautiful, pretty little dipping pens. They're glass, so I'm going to be very, very careful with them because I don't want to mess up their points. They belong to hubby as well, so while I'm experimenting, I'm going to play with them. The other day, a few days ago, we decided to just treat ourselves and take ourselves to a little coffee shop and have a croissant. So I had a ham and cheese croissant, and he had a regular croissant, and I would have sketched right there, and I plan on going back to sketch right there at the cafe in the future, especially during the winter when even here in North Carolina, it's a little too cold to sit outside. But I plan on going back, but because my husband and I were having ourselves a day, I didn't want to mess up his day by sketching while we were sitting there. So I took a photo. So I'm going to sketch the photo that I took. And I'm going to pull it up on my tablet. Okay, I have never used this ink before, but let's give it a whirl. Here's the little photo that I took at the shop. And I think I'm going to use this little shorter nib for now. It just seems a little more pencil-like and easier to handle. So I'm going to start over here. Actually, I'll start up there with his croissant. So I've never done this before, so I hope I don't make a right mess of it. So I'm making the mound of the croissant. It's a nice fat one. It's interesting. Don't have to dip as much as I thought I would because these little ridges in the pen hold on to stuff. So this may be a little darker brown than I want. And then the plate is at an angle. And he had a cup of hot chocolate, and the cup was really cool. And the chocolate came right up to the top. But the cup had little like thumb holds. It's a little bit behind my cup, so I'm going to stop it here and do my foreground cup because it's kind of in the way. And it's cut off a little bit on the side of the photo, but that's okay. Just wanted a cozy little sketch. Rim here. These are not easy to handle. for a newbie to this particular handle. Again, I'm just doing little silly cozy sketching. We're not trying to be perfect here. Get a little depth in the curve of that handle. I'm not trying to be perfect because it's more of a graphic sort of sketch. So I know that his cup has a lot of really pretty graphic marks on it, like it's actual pottery. And then there's the saucer back there. A little bit of the saucer line here. And then we have my croissant saucer. Got to keep it a little sideways. And I just did a terrible curve there of my saucer. My croissant was a ham and cheese one, and it was kind of square. It wasn't a normal butter croissant shape. And it was much browner too. It was very toasty, but I'll do that with the watercolor. And it looks like there was a pretty little heart design in my cup, which I thought the barista did a cute job of. Add in the little stir stick on the side of my saucer just for fun. And the table line is right about here near the rim of my cup. And since it's the holidays, I think I'm going to use my imagination and put a little bit of Christmas cheer in the background. Like maybe there should be a little tree back here. I celebrate Christmas. Some of my friends celebrate Hanukkah. But I'm not in a frame of mind to draw a menorah today. But whatever you celebrate, I hope you're having a wonderful holiday. Just thought it would be fun to put a little something back there, maybe some framed pictures on the wall. This is just out of my imagination. I'm not looking at anything for this because the picture I took was basically of just the table and my husband was sitting across from me. So just the food. But they did have some fun things hanging over on the wall. These little shadow box shelves with wooden cutouts in them and some pictures. I think it's my shadow box. And we'll put a little snowman in the shadow box. Yeah, fun. Don't know what that picture is of, but it doesn't matter. It's way back in the background. All right, and I think that's all I'm going to do. Maybe I get an idea of some of the wood grain in the table. Was a fun little process. And again, like I said, I'm just playing here. I'm just playing and sketching and playing around, and then I'm going to let this dry for a few minutes and then come back in and see just how permanent this really is. I'm using my little rag just to dry off the glass so it doesn't stain. If it's inclined to stain, I doubt it. Alright, let's set those over to the side. Open up my Koi watercolor palette. This time, so many ways you can put this little mixing tray in. I think this time I'm gonna put it in the front and mix my colors this way. Now the last time I used it, I didn't put the brush back in there. I just kept it in my little travel pack for my water brushes. So this is the one that came with the watercolor palette. Get some of the water down in the tip. What color is the wall? I think it was a nice, pretty bluish color, but had some gray in it. So let's get a little bit of the cerulean blue and a little bit of this, yeah, kind of a gray greenish blue color, if I'm recalling correctly, and I may not be because I was concentrating on conversing with my husband and eating my croissant, which was delicious. Okay, so we'll just get a little color on the wall, and then I'm going to come in with a little bit of burnt umber. Maybe first a little yellow ochre to do the underside, the lighter colors of the croissants. I'm standing up. I'm sitting back down again because that was awkward. I'm not really concerned with saving my whites or with leaving whites. That just adds a little interest. This one I didn't leave any whites, but I'm not opposed to coming back with a white gel pen later if I need some highlights. And my cup, a really cool apple green color. So let's go here, some green, maybe some permanent yellow. And you're just coming in really fast just to get a little base color in there. I'll come back with some darks later. Make it a little bit linier. Put some shadows in. Now let's come back in here and find the correct, I love that I did this little color swatch, so now I kind of know how some of this goes down on paper, and I'm going to color in the top of my latte. I've started doing a lot more sketching because it really loosens me up, and frankly it puts me in a good mood. It just, you get in a kind of a peaceful zen place and all the troubles of the world can just take a back seat for a while, you know? Now, let's put some color in that tree back there. A little bit darker later. Get some of that out. Come back in and get some lemon yellow. For that little star. So far, it does look as if this ink is at least semi-permanent. I've run over the lines with my wet, and it was only like 2 minutes after I put the ink down, finished putting the ink down, that I started to paint. And that's honestly really dry. It's not spreading. There's nothing spreading around down there. I'm quite happy with that ink. So I think that's that one, or I might try this other brown. This one that I used is a sepia brown. Sepia? I don't know. I've only ever read it. I've never heard it spoken out loud. Those of you who are big readers and grew up big readers will know what I'm talking about. Let's make this little shadow box blue. It's a little too blue. And we'll make this frame that sort of blue. I'm just gonna tie them together a little bit. And that is the color of blue that my husband's hot cocoa cup had. He told me before we went that he just, for this holiday season, just wanted a good cup of hot cocoa somewhere. And I said, well, you know, this little cafe is right down the road and we've never been, so why don't we check it out? And he decided he would take me up on that, so I bought him coffee. There was even a little bit of black in that cup. That was a very Art Deco little piece of pottery. Okay, we'll put his chocolate in there. His cocoa was a little bit darker than mine was. Not a lot though. It was nice and foamy, and it was the dark chocolate cocoa, so it had a really nice foam to it. Now our croissant plates were kind of boring, but I think instead of painting them just the white china, oh, that was the wrong blue I pulled. No, that's all right. I want to tie this down here in with that up there with the cup and with those, so I'm going to have a blue plate down here. That'll kind of balance the colors in the composition. And then since I have a little green plate down here and a tree here, I'll balance out this composition in thirds by giving this plate a little bit of that green tone. They don't all have to be the same, but when you carry your colors throughout a composition, it really helps to kind of unify the thing. Now let's go in and put some actual, that's really dark. That's what I want. A lot darker. Some of these places more mottled. Some little lines, little swirlies. This one has a lot of little dark smudges. It was definitely cooked in a much browner way, probably because they were baking ham and cheese inside. I don't usually eat bread, but it's the holiday season and I wanted a treat. And since hubby wanted hot chocolate and got it and enjoyed it, I enjoyed my croissant and latte treat. All right, let's get a little green shadows in around the cup, just to give it some depth. Shadows of the cup on the plate. There's a little shadow that the stick is making on the plate. Here, going a little darker. Not quite dark enough. Let's have some bright red, cadmium red baubles on that tree. Keep it simple. All the baubles are going to be red. hint a little bit at twinkly lights with just tiny touches of yellow. And we're gonna go in and just put a wash, just put a darker wash on this table because it was kind of a walnutty sort of wood green. This, by the way, is my very first watercolor sketch of food or inside a cafe even. Very first time. So try not to judge me too much. It's not about skill level right now. It's about getting into the zone and getting out of all the calamitous stuff that's happening around us. And just getting into that zone where we can create and enjoy what we're creating at whatever artistic level we are. Get that blue off the white a little bit. So I can stick some yellow on that white. I don't normally use white for watercolor. I save stuff, but I just wanted a little bit of a hint of a creamy white. Alright, well, it's not complete interest, and I probably have a little more shading to do. Actually, I'm actually seeing some shading I need to do. Some very much darker shadow spots. It just helps to add depth when you put in more shadow. This is almost a dry brush I'm doing right now. The shadow of this plate up here. Ultramarine blue to create the shadow on this plate. And just a few more dots of brown here and there. And croissants. I'm gonna quit while I'm ahead, or behind, or whatever. But I really feel like in this upcoming year, in 2025, my main goal is to, number one, downsize my art supplies, downsize the things that I use, and downsize my art a little bit. I'm in a learning phase. I'm learning to do more sketchbooking, to do more sketching out in the wild, and to just sit down and sketch for meditative purposes. This, to me, has been just a lovely little interlude before I get back into the world. Again, my husband and I did some running around earlier today, but this afternoon, while he's out taking the dog for a walk, I just want a little Zen time. So I hope you've enjoyed coming with me. I hope to see you soon. Don't forget to hit that like and subscribe button if you wouldn't mind. I would love people to start sketching along with me. I'm going to probably do some lives in the future so we can all sketch together, or just talk about art and sketching. And I'm not going to call it it's therapy for me. It's self-art therapy. I am not a therapist. However, I have worked in therapeutic services before in the past for many years, and I have also worked in education for many years. So I want my channel to become more of I want it to include more of that, of discussion of how art can help us, how art can help us to center our minds and our thoughts and to find a sea of calm in a very tumultuous world that we're living in right now. So I hope you've enjoyed this. I hope I can stop shaking the table long enough to say, I hope you have a great day, and we'll see you soon. Happy holidays.